Hey y'all, thanks for stopping in. Appreciate taking time out of y'all's busy schedule to stop in and see what it is I'm up to. It is Sunday, September 13th, 2020. We're starting into our 26th week of dealing with this COVID-19 CCP virus, isolate in place, wear a mask, social distance mess. Currently here in Jacksonville, Florida, it is 83 degrees Fahrenheit outside. There is a humidity of 88%, which makes it feel like it's in the mid to upper 90s out there still. And the air's still so thick you can't breathe it. So, yeah. Currently in here, it's 72 degrees Fahrenheit. My air conditioner just kicked back in. I'm not sure why, but it did. Because I got to sit on 77 degrees. I don't know what you're doing, but no. Advertisement. There. Come on. Sometimes this thing gets in the way of pushing those little X's to get rid of ads. Anyway, 28 degrees Celsius out there, 22 degrees Celsius in here. So, coffee with Doc. I guess I spoke too soon yesterday when I was talking about sleeping. I went to bed last night about, 3:30-ish, something like that in the morning. I hadn't been asleep long because it was only about 4 a.m. and a storm rolled in. And oh my gosh, the storm. The wind was blowing, thunder crashing. The rain was coming down so hard, even through the tree that's over top of the trailer. It was a rat-a-tat-tat-tat-tat-tat. And the trailer was shaking and booming. And man, they were like, oh my goodness. But there was no going back to sleep. And that lasted for probably 45 minutes, almost an hour, something like that. And yeah, I couldn't get back to sleep after that, after it finally went by and stopped down to just, it was a bare trickle going on outside. But I didn't get to sleep back to sleep until probably 6:30-ish or something. Oh man. Crazy night. It really was. So anyway, it's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon now. I'm on my second cup of slancha. I still need to go to the daughter's house and let out the grand dog. I'll do that here in a little bit. But kind of a funny story going on there, and a little bit of background. Friday, when I dropped the little G's off to their mom, the mailman came into the office, and he had a few things to take care of. And, we were talking and whatnot, and he was talking about how our kids, use us all the time. It's like, Dad, can you do? Dad, can you do? Dad, can you do? And I said, well, I mean, yeah, I get it, but my kids spoil me. I mean, they do. They really do. There's very little that I need that they won't take care of. And it's not an imposition for me to go and do something that they want to, that they need, or if it's just watch the grandkids or whatever, then I'm good with that. It gives me time with the G-Rats, And then sometimes things change. Like my son-in-law was expecting to go. I'm not sure where they were going. Chicago, I think, for this thing to do with his job. He's a home inspector. And he's going to go to this big conference for home inspectors. And I was going to watch the GBRAT for the week that they were gone, or 4 days or 5 days that they were going to be gone. I go and pick him up from school and stay at their place or whatever. But that's changed. They're not going. Anyway, the same daughter called me Friday evening and was like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm out to dinner with Uncle Bob and Swoosh. We'd gone to Olive Garden." And she says, "Oh, well, we're going to go out and chase the bumper." I was like, "Oh, really? You want me to go with you?" And she says, "No." I said, "Oh, okay. But would you come and let Lemmy out tomorrow?" "Yeah, I guess." Look, I get it. They ended up they went to Charleston, I think, and my son-in-law would have had to buy a separate room for me because of the way I snore, and we've been through that a few times in the past. It's not a real good situation. Although both my daughters tell their husbands that it's not a major big deal because they snore also. But they don't snore like I do. I guarantee that. My one daughter-in-law, we'd gone to a cabin out by White Springs. We spent, I don't know, I think like 3 or 4 days out there. But tiny little place. And my daughter-in-law woke my son up and was talking about a bear being down under the cabin. It was up on stilts. And she woke him up. She said, "There's a bear downstairs. Listen to it. Listen." He woke up and listened. He said, "That's just Dad." Oh yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I have to go over and let the dog out. Who let the dog out? Yeah. Crazy stuff going on. The other day, one of my videos, I was out and my here it is. The mount that I use fell apart. Come on. It wasn't the suction cup. There's a spring that goes in between that was actually busted. And when I was complaining about the camera not staying where it needed to be, or the mount not staying where it needed to be, in retrospect, I figure it was the spring that was the problem. Anyway, so I'm going to have to figure out some way to use this. I'll probably just put a bolt in where that piece is. Excuse me. And mount it down like I've got this one hooked up to the top of a gallon jug. But anyway, you can see what that looks like now. That's after 2 years of being in the Florida sun. This is what they look like when they're new. So, the other type of mount that I use is a bird mouth, and I've shown that to y'all before. But that one also uses a suction cup, and it doesn't like holding in hot weather in the Florida sun. So anyway, I'll put this one in the brat buggy and use it. I've actually got the exact same one that the camera's sitting in right now on top of a tea jug or sun tea jug or whatever. A gallon jug with a little spigot on the bottom of it. It's got a metal lid. So I've got one of these attached to that, I've got one in Sherry on the dashboard, and because that's where it works the best in there. And I had this one in Earlene in the brat buggy because that's where this one works. It works better on the windshield in the brat buggy, and better on the dashboard on in Sherry. So I'll put a link to this. I got it off of Amazon. They're like $11 or $12, and that's all kinds of stuff. Depending on which way you want to use it, this part comes out, rotates around, so it's very useful, and you can put it almost anywhere. So as long as that suction cup sticks, it's going to stay for the most part. I usually like to put them up and then let them sit for a while so that they really, I don't know. It seems to help them stay in place. Sometimes if you just put it up and then put your camera in, it won't stay. It'll end up falling, or put your phone in. But oh, and you don't wet it. You don't wet it before you put it up. You do make sure everything's clean, but it has to be dry. So, I think I threw the box away over there. Anyway, yeah, that's these things. I move them all over the place. But like a lot of the cooking videos or whatever, I'm using this mount that's on the jar. I just move it to different spots where I want it to go, and like I said, it's versatile because you can turn it so many different ways. Complete reverse from where it's at, and it hanging down, or it's just I still have a tripod, of course, and on the tripod I've got one of my bird mouths. That's where I may go ahead and figure out how to put a tripod screw on there, a 1/4-20, and see how that'll work. I'm not sure if I got one. I should have one of the ones for the the GoPro type mount. Should have something like that I can use. But we'll see. Another one of those projects. My nephew just posted a thing on Facebook talking about ADHD or AADD, whatever. And I was like, yeah. His mom and I used to talk about our art attention deficit disorder. And I told him, I've got like 6 or 7 projects right around here that I can see where I went out and bought all the supplies for it and then didn't do it. Or got, partway through it or whatever. I've got paint supplies over there to try out the pouring techniques. There's canvases over there. There's lettering over there. There's lighting over there. There's this thing. I bought this at Dollar Tree and then cut this part off. I had attached the paper from alcohol wipes. I put them on the back of this using hot glue, but leaving it in the sun, again being in Florida, left it on the dashboard and the hot glue let go. So then I found out something else as I went to go ahead, like the hot glue let go of the paper, but it was still stuck to here. Well, rubbing alcohol will take off the glue. So I started taking off the glue, and then I noticed that my hands were all blue. So I'm thinking this must be an alcohol-based dye or an alcohol-based paint. Probably a dye, the way it's streaked on there, because it's black plastic, and then that blue is just kind of streaked over the top of it. So that's the next part of this project is to go ahead and and see if that all comes off before I repaint it, and then do something else with these vents, because I don't think masks do as much as some people think they do. But it's also not worth the hassle or it's not worth being hassled when you're walking around the store. People come up and go like, "Sir, you're supposed to be wearing a mask," and then you tell them, "I've got medical problems. I can't wear a mask." And "Well, sir, you need to wear a mask, and it's mandated." And it's like, no, you read the mandate. It says, wear a mask if you can't socially distance. And I was socially distancing just fine until you stepped in to my space. Now step back 2 steps to be 6 feet away from me. But, yeah, sometimes I think they carry this way too far. Last night, the local football team had its home game, and if you were in the stands, they had you socially distanced. There were like 2 or 3 rows between groups of people. You had to stay in your own group, and like there was, 1 group per row of seats, maybe one at either end or whatever. So there was 20 feet between you. Our stadium is open air. There's no roof. You have to wear a mask sitting at your seat. I don't get it. It's not going to fall down out of the sky. It's not going to jump up from the players down on the field. It's not going to travel that 20 feet from the people in front of you. I think it's ridiculous. I mean, okay, you want to have people wear a mask because they walk in and, it's hard to social distance and you're, less than 6 feet apart or whatever. I can sort of kind of see that, but when you're out in the open air and you're, not around anybody, I don't understand that. I don't understand them mandating or saying that you need to wear a mask in the park when there's nobody around you. The mandate says wear a mask when you can't socially distance. Socially distance, that's just, I've always socially distanced. I don't like humanity. I stay away from people. But you see people wearing their mask in the car. You see people running down, jogging on the street, and they're wearing a mask. There's nobody around you. You're not going to get it from the air. It doesn't, unless somebody drove by in the car, sneezed out the window, and you ran into it just as they sneezed. Then you have a small chance of actually getting something. It may not be the COVID. It could be whatever other flu they have or cold they have, or just catching germs. I don't know. In some aspects, I can understand, like in areas like New York City, where there is a mass of humanity. I can almost understand everybody wearing masks all the time. Down here, our numbers are steadily dropping. We had an increase for a while. Now they're steadily dropping back down again. And most of the cases people are getting are mild. So COVID-related deaths are down. Overall deaths are down. Or overall reported deaths due to COVID are down, or whatever. So I'm not overly concerned about it. I go out and I get the grandkids at school. They've been more or less socially distancing in school. Although for the most part, they either don't get it or don't carry it well. And if they do get it, it's usually a mild case. and they have to wear masks, whenever they're within a group of people, and they even have to wear, except for the little guys, they have to wear masks when they're in class. And in class, the little guys get to wear a face shield for the most part. So I don't know. I don't know. It's one of those things. It may actually do some good, but we're not wearing masks that actually prevent a virus from getting through. If that was the case, then people when they go and they deal with the Ebola virus, they would just wear one of those little paper masks that everybody walk around with, or a little cotton mask that everyone's walking around with. It doesn't prevent virus transfer. Viruses can get right through that stuff. It does prevent the moisture from your breath or moisture from a sneeze or whatever from carrying droplets a distance, but so does turning your head and coughing into your elbow. I mean, basic hygiene, wash your hands. If you sneeze into your elbow, go wash your arm. It's not rocket science. So again, like I said, I don't know. Maybe it does something, maybe it doesn't. For the most part, I don't really worry about it. I will throw on something like this. I can't breathe in the other ones. I've even tried I bought a couple of kerchiefs the other day, and I tried wearing them, and anytime it comes into close contact, when you go to inhale, and it closes down on your nose or on your mouth, it's difficult to breathe. I have enough problems breathing, so that is an emergency use type thing. If I'm in there and people are really hassling me or whatever. But again, I would much rather wear this or the other one that I made out of a hand skull that has the air lines running to it and all that. Because I get odd looks. I get more odd looks wearing something like that than I do not wearing a mask at all. But I'm used to that. Oh man. So yeah, enough of that. It's not. I mean, you're all dealing with it. You know where I'm coming from. Some of y'all really know where I'm coming from because you got some of the same type issues that I do. Oh man. So anyway, what are we running on here? About 20 minutes or so. Looking at the clock on the wall. What's this saying? Yeah, going on 24 minutes. So another one of those yakety yak with Doc type things. I think we're pretty well caught up on the week, right? I mean, not a whole lot happened that I didn't show already or talk about already during all my driving things. And I'll get around to doing other type of videos. I picked up stuff yesterday. If y'all watched the video heading to see my girls, or is that what I wrote? Yeah, heading to see my girls. Yeah, I picked up a couple things on the side of the road that I'll look through. I'll look through that. I just grabbed it. It looked fairly interesting. A little bit older, like fishing poles or whatever, but we'll see. And the bread and rolls and donuts were a big hit. Apparently, when I walked in, I handed it to my daughter-in-law, and she's like, "I was just saying we're out of bread." So, yeah, it just lucky coincidence, but it just happened to drive by and see that they actually had stuff out. Sometimes they don't, or they don't have anything that I really want or whatever. But yeah, yesterday they had oh, what did I get? Onion rolls, torpedo rolls, and sliced French type bread. I actually had to put the bread in the freezer because I've got most of a loaf of pumpernickel bread still open, and if I have them both open, I'll never go through it. So, or I won't go through it before one or the other goes bad. It's only me. You know, I can only eat so many sandwiches a day, and yeah. So, oh, I guess yeah. Here I go. I think I'm gonna cut out and then start babbling and waffling along again, right? Let me know what you think, folks. Give me a thumbs down or a thumbs up. Leave me a comment wherever it is y'all leave comments on your internet access device of choice. If you'd like to share me around your social media, that'd be fandoculous. If you want to check me out on Facebook or Instagram, I'll have links in the description box where that is on your device of choice. I also put links to similar videos, and you'll find my email, my snail mail, all that good stuff. So. Oh, one last thing. My internet went down yesterday. When I got up, the internet was down. When I got up, the internet was down. Yeah, that makes sense, right? And like I couldn't get on Facebook, I couldn't get on YouTube, I couldn't watch TV. I did watch a little bit of over-the-air TV, and then finally after a couple hours, I was like, I got to get out of here. I got to go let the dog out, and then after that, it was I hadn't heard from the cable people, and I hadn't seen the granddaughters in a while, so I went to check on them. Just went to see them. Ended up spending dinner or whatever, and cable people said that cable, my internet would be back by 6 o'clock or so. Well, I was coming in, it was going on 10 o'clock, and I was passing cable trucks all the way down Atlantic Boulevard. And as I turned into the road here that leads me to the neighborhood, there was a cable truck right outside of the gate. I was like, well, I don't have cable yet. It finally kicked in about 11:15 or so last night. So posting my videos was kind of a pain, and then they ended up posting backwards. Should have had driving to my daughter's posted first and heading to see my girls after that, but oh well. I guess one's a little bit shorter than the other, and yeah. If you live within nearby, give them a kiss and a hug. If they're not, give them a call. Hit them up on Facebook. Let them know you think about them. Let them know you love them. We ain't promised tomorrow, people. We're not promised our next breath. So I see y'all again. I hope you have a fandoculous day. Watch it, y'all.